I will call this the Western Conference legends never die. Think about the offseason.
I'm
You remember
thinking.
our PowerPoint.
I'm thinking. I'm thinking KC.
Yes, Sporting KC re-signed Graham Zusi and Roger Espinosa. And I think someone else too. Fontas, I
Fontas.
want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about not wanting to move on from the past. Um, Currently in dead last in the Western Conference
In the league.
and in the league. 0 wins, 3 draws, 4 losses, 14th in the West. How you pick a top player from this team, I really don't know. And this honestly pains me so much to say this. I can't believe I'm saying this, but my top player for them this season is Graham Zusi. He was one of, I think on Sofa he's their 4th highest rated, and on Who Scored he is their 4th highest rated. And I physically could not go with an attacker considering this team has 2 goals the entire season. They've only conceded 8, like you said with Colorado. That's not bad. That's about average. This team is just cannot score goals. So I went with a defender. I think Zusi's been fine for them so far.
I went with Eric Tommy. It's a cop out pick, but he's my favorite player on that team, and everybody else is garbage. So
Yeah, Eric Tommy. Eric Tommy when he's yeah, I mean he's a good player. He I think is being let down by the rest of the team.
yep.
Most impressive for me, I went with Robert Volader. 20 what is he, 21?
24. Oh no,
No.
Volader. Sorry,
Yeah.
21. Yeah.
Yep. Volader, 21 years old. He's come in, played every game for SKC so far. And like I said, defensively, they've been fine. They've been about average, should be competing for a playoff spot based on that. So I don't think the blame is really on him. I think he's come in and he's done well to kind of adjust right into this team. Although he did have a decent number of minutes last season, but I think he's doing well for how young he is.
Yeah, my most impressive is John Polskamp. Had a very
Good one.
iffy start to his year last year. And I believe he's now not playing in there. I think it's Tim Mealy has come back from injury and took it. But for the 5 games that he had, I mean, let me just double check here really quick. I hate that that Transfer Market's a German website. It just takes so much longer to load. Yeah,
I have okay. Yeah, go ahead.
he's got 2 clean sheets and 5 appearances. I mean, he's done very well for what we expect out of him, and he's still very young, so getting his feet wet.
Okay. Least impressive. Where do we even start?
I know where I can start.
Go ahead.
My golden boot pick. Absolutely dropping the ball, William.
I forgot who your
You
golden boot
disrespectful
pick
man.
was.
How dare you get cursed by the podcast like every other person I name dropped at the beginning of preseason? Oh man. 6 starts, 1 sub appearance, 1 goal in just over 500 minutes. Somebody somewhere, I don't know who, bought into this hype of him being a monster at the end of last season and thought it was going to transition over, and now they look silly because they made silly predictions on their silly podcast and they sound silly.
Listen, you can only curse people for so long. At least you know not to put them in your fantasy team.
Why does every other podcast have like the good podcast curse? Like, oh, we interviewed you and you scored a hat trick. Great. Ours is like, oh, we talked about you. You're done for your career's over. Sorry.
I think it's really only you. I think it's just especially like you were high on Chicago last year. They sucked. You were high on Kip Keller. We know what happened there.
Erkin
William
Kara.
got us your golden boot pick. He scores nothing.
Erkin Kara.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, that's like the one exception.
I'm never name dropping somebody again.
Just
This is
name
why
drop
nobody. This
people
is why
that
nobody gives us interviews because
just
they
hype.
know what will
Yeah,
happen.
they must know.
Nikosi's a top 10 center back. Don't let him come on our podcast.
Yeah, seriously. I think you got to stop talking about him. He's gonna fall off.
Eventually he will. Right. We're gonna put this episode out. He'll never hit another pass again.
I know.
Oh, we're the worst.
I've gone for Fontas here. I know that they haven't been too bad defensively, but looking at his numbers on that same comparison on FBref, he has zero point 0.2 blocks per 90, 2.4 clearances per 90, one aerial one per 90, all of which puts him in the 5th percentile or lower, like dreadfully bad. I think that the other guys in the defense have kind of probably been picking up for that slack, but the numbers don't look great on what he's been capable of in defense. And who scored, I think, was kind of in agreement. He's 13th highest rated on their team for a guy who's basically center back too, I think. So yeah, I think we've seen better Fontas.
Yeah, I agree with that.
One of the easiest questions of the show: overachieving, underachieving. I had them 8th. They're dead last. Obviously underachieving.
Where did I have them underachieving too? I just want to see how bad I missed it. Oh no, I had him in 6th.
That's all right. I don't think many people had this one right.
All right, let me answer your question for you. Yes, Vanny out.
Vanny, wrong team.
I know. Because I'm looking at so the way I laid this out was in MLS.com had a list of all their team names, and SKC and LA Galaxy were right next to each other. Because it used to be Kansas City Wiz, LA Galaxy, and they just never changed it to the S. So I was looking at LA the whole time. So I'm like, oh, LA, Greg Vanny. Yeah, no. Vermees out. Get out.
My question is, when should Vermees be sacked?
Right now.
And why is the answer like yesterday?
I'm so glad I can read your mind.
I think it was an obvious question. But yeah, I mean, he had, obviously he's historically had success with SKC, but they were 12th last year. 2021.
He's gonna go on a sunshine ride with Graham Zusi and co. And when they retire, he's gonna walk away.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand what the goal was here. Like the direction was like, we're gonna bring back all our veteran players and we're just gonna rely and hope that like the hot form that Tommy and Agata were in last season continues. And clearly it hasn't, and they're paying the price for it. I mean, they've to be fair, they've tried on bringing players in, but they've just swung and missed on every single one. Like Pulido, Gotti Kinda, Eric Tommy, Willie Agata. I mean, there's still time for them to turn that around, but so far I feel like they've swung and missed on every single one.
Yep.